Hi everyone, today I want to share a very personal story about relationship struggles and how I overcame them using Stoic philosophy. There are moments in life when you open up to those you trust, pouring your heart out, expecting understanding. You wait for that comforting word, the kind that reassures you, that says, "I get it." But instead you're met with cold silence or harsh judgment. It stings. It's the kind of sting that cuts deeper than any criticism because it feels personal, as if your very vulnerability is being rejected. I remember one conversation with someone I had always relied on. I shared my deepest fear, one that had been keeping me up at night. I was scared of failing, scared of not being enough. I thought I was speaking to someone who would see me, truly see me, and offer the support I desperately needed. But instead the response was quick. "You need to toughen up. Everyone goes through tough times." At that moment, the weight of those words fell on me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't the comfort I was hoping for, but a sharp reminder of how small I felt in the face of my struggles. I tried to explain, to make them understand that I wasn't asking for pity, just empathy. But the words kept coming, each one more cutting than the last, telling me to get over it, or move on. In those moments I felt not just misunderstood but utterly alone. The pain wasn't just in the words, it was in the silence that followed. There was no room for my feelings, no space for me to be anything other than what they expected. It was as if my emotions didn't matter. It was as if I didn't matter. And that's when it hits you, the realization that some people will never understand the depths of your struggle. They won't see the battles you're fighting internally. The hardest part? Accepting that the people who should have been your pillars of support can, at times, become the ones who leave you feeling even more isolated. But here's the twist, the real strength comes from within. You don't need others to validate your struggles. The healing begins when you learn to stand on your own, when you no longer seek approval, but simply move forward despite the pain. That's when you realized the power to heal was always in your hands. There was a time when life seemed to be a constant barrage of challenges, obstacles, and, most painfully, criticism. I used to react quickly, defensively. My emotions were like a fire that would ignite with every harsh word or judgment thrown my way. But then something changed. I stumbled upon Stoicism, and it didn't just change my perspective. It reshaped the way I approached everything. Stoicism, at its core, teaches that while we cannot control the actions of others, we have full control over how we respond to what happens around us. It's a philosophy that encourages us to cultivate inner peace by focusing on what is within our power: our thoughts, our choices, our reactions. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we react to them. This idea resonated with me deeply. The first time I consciously applied this principle was eye-opening. I had received a sharp critique from a colleague, and instead of letting anger or frustration take over, I paused. I took a deep breath and reminded myself, this is not a reflection of my worth. This is an opportunity to learn. In the past, I would have immediately felt defensive, maybe even retaliated. But this time I made a choice, to be still, to listen, and to view the feedback objectively. As I sat there taking in the words, I realized something important. I had the power to control my response. I didn't have to let their criticism define me. Instead of seeing it as a personal attack, I chose to see it as an opportunity to grow. This is not about me, I told myself. This is about improving, becoming better. And that's when the power of Stoicism truly clicked. It wasn't about avoiding discomfort. It was about learning how to endure it gracefully. The more I applied this philosophy, the less I found myself reacting from a place of emotion and the more I acted from a place of wisdom. The external world may throw curveballs, but I've learned that I'm the one who gets to decide how I step up to the plate. Each day I practice this art of inner control. Stoicism has taught me that peace doesn't come from the world around us, it comes from the way we respond to it. There was a time when I let the opinions and judgments of others define how I felt about myself. Every criticism, every slight felt like a personal attack. But then I discovered Stoicism, and the shift it triggered in my life was nothing short of transformative. One of the first lessons I learned was that the key to peace lies in how we respond, not in what happens to us. Stoicism taught me that we cannot control the actions or words of others, but we can always control how we react. What other people think of me is none of my business, I learned to tell myself. This wasn't just a new way of thinking, it became a new way of living. Through this philosophy, I learned to build resilience and self-worth from within, rather than depending on external validation. The challenge wasn't facing the trials life threw at me, it was how I met those trials with composure, patience, and an unwavering sense of self. Every difficult conversation, every setback, became an opportunity to practice inner strength. I remember a particular moment that showed me how much I had grown. I was in a heated discussion with a friend who was quick to criticize my choices. In the past, I would have felt defensive, even hurt. But this time I paused. I breathed. Instead of reacting, I calmly expressed my point of view without anger, without frustration. I wasn't trying to change their mind, but I was standing firm in my beliefs. In that moment I realized, this was the power of Stoicism. I had learned to detach from the need for approval and to embrace my own judgment. The results were undeniable. I felt a sense of calm that I had never experienced before. My relationships began to improve because I was no longer reacting from a place of insecurity. I was able to listen more, understand better, and engage in conversations with an open heart. Most importantly, I found that my self-respect grew. I no longer sought to please others but to honor my truth. Today I stand more confident in my choices, more grounded in who I am. Stoicism didn't just help me handle life's challenges, it helped me grow stronger in the face of them. It taught me that true peace isn't found in avoiding conflict, but in how we meet it. And that, perhaps, is the greatest lesson of all. There was a time when my emotions ruled me. Every word, every glance, every judgment from others could throw me off course. It was exhausting, constantly reacting, constantly trying to control things outside of me. But through the teachings of Stoicism, I learned something transformative. Peace doesn't come from controlling the world around us. It comes from mastering ourselves. Stoicism taught me that the only thing we truly control in this life is our response. The actions of others, the chaos of the world, none of it can define our inner peace unless we let it. I learned to stop reacting to every challenge and to instead choose how I responded, no matter the situation. When faced with criticism or adversity, I no longer felt the need to defend myself or feel attacked. Instead, I paused, reflected, and chose my response based on what I could control, my own mindset. The power of this philosophy has been life-changing. It has brought me a sense of calm that I never thought possible. I no longer feel like a slave to my emotions or the opinions of others. I've learned to remain steady, to stay grounded, and to navigate life's ups and downs with a clear mind. And in doing so, I've realized that true happiness and success don't come from external validation. They come from mastering yourself, from living with intention and purpose. My journey is proof that we can choose how to respond to life's challenges. When we gain control over our emotions, we unlock a deeper sense of peace and strength. We become more resilient, more present, and more capable of navigating the uncertainties of life. So, let me ask you, how do you handle the challenges and criticism that come your way? Do you allow them to dictate your peace, or do you choose to rise above them? If this story has resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and share this video with others. Together, let's spread the message of inner peace and personal growth, and begin mastering the art of living a fulfilled life.